Alrighty. What's fucking poppin', gamers? Welcome to the 14th iteration of the Nifty Cauldron podcast. I am one of your esteemed hosts, Kelly, and this is my esteemed co-host,
Milan. You're in a mood today.
Sometimes when you have a little bit of caffeine, you just start to fuck, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Can't relate, but I feel you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. It is a delicious holiday here in America. This is this is for Thanksgiving. Even though the Thanksgiving is founded on genocide and is a terrible fucking holiday, eating is still kind of nice. So I like a holiday that promotes, gorging until you are crippled by self-loathing. And who doesn't like that? So happy Thanksgiving to everybody here in the United States. I know that is not necessarily the case over there in the EU, but how are you doing, Scoob?
I'm good. Honestly, I've been very busy this week in a positive way because Chris hit me up for that big fat commission. So you know me, like once I start on one of those projects, I'm like, I have to keep going. I have to keep working on it. Like I can't take a break. So I've just been pretty much doing that my entire free time, and then like streaming, and then now the podcast, and it's like there aren't enough hours in the day right now. Honestly,
I feel that as somebody who works sometimes for like 9 or 10 hours and then streams, I feel like there is not enough hours in the day, and then I like gently lay myself down to sleep after scrubbing my exposed skeleton. That's teeth, for those of you who don't know that. I lay down in a dark room for 8 hours to try to recuperate, except I don't get 8 hours. It's more like probably 4 to 6.
Yeah. I mean, for me, luckily, I started back on my sleep meds again. I'm nice. Sleeping like a fucking angel, but it's definitely like, oof. Losing a lot of hours on that free trial on death, you know.
free trial on death. Speaking of free trials, our first topic today is going to be about fucking MMOs, and specifically WoW and the new Shadowlands. New Shadowlands expansion. What are your thoughts about it, Scoob?
So I guess for context, I used to play WoW pretty much since EU launch, a little bit later because I was in Serbia and I couldn't get the game in Serbia. I literally had to like have Paul buy the game for me and like ship it to me. Like it was just insane. So I started a couple months late, and I've been playing on and off until Legion. Like I would come back every expansion at least for like a month or two, and then usually just stop playing until like, I don't know, like the pre-patch. And Legion came out, played it, and that was around the time when like my social anxiety and anxiety in general acted up. It got really bad where I was like, I don't want to do dungeons with random people because I might do bad and they're going to judge me and oh god, panic attack. So I kind of just stopped playing like a week in. And then BFA came out. And I had no interest. I was like, oh, sweet. I'm finally free from the WoW curse. I'm, like the curse has been lifted. I never have to buy another WoW game again. And then Twitch was like, hey, have you seen this ad for Shadowlands? Hey, have you seen it? It's coming out. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, Twitch. Like, fuck off with these ads. And then Shadowlands came out, and I'm kind of like, man, Shadowlands looking kind of tasty, So... Oh, no. Especially when Paul was like, do you want me to get it for you? I'm like, I don't really have time. Maybe like, let's see how I feel in a week or two when I'm done with all this stuff. But it's definitely looking like fun, like a good time, but not like back in the old days where you play for 8 hours a day. More like, oh, I'll play this for a month, enjoy the new content, and then just drop it until the next expansion kind of deal. Like more so in that context.
I gotcha. I mean, so for me, I feel like MMOs I've never got the allure of them. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a hot take. But I just never got the allure of MMOs. It's just getting essentially shinier shoes to kick bigger rocks. But like a subscription that you pay every single month to get shinier shoes to kick bigger rocks, even if you don't necessarily get the shiny shoes to kick the bigger rocks because you didn't get that fucking 1% drop on some fucking raid that you need to do with like 6 other people that you don't actually fucking like. So I've never got the allure of MMOs. I've only played like probably one quote unquote MMO to the point where I would actually log in every single day. And even then, it was not one that ran with a subscription, I don't believe. I played Black Desert Online for a healthy while, and by that I would say half a year, probably like half a year. I played BDO, maybe less than that. I mean, so I basically got enough money where so there's many ways to like quote unquote make money in that game, and I decided to pick two kind of stupid methods of making money. Most people, pick like, what is it, like mining and like cooking or something like that in BDO. I burped. What's up, gamers? But what I like to do is I like to train horses. So my whole thing about BDO is like I wanted to fucking train horses, and I built like a furniture empire. So I made like furniture and I trained horses, and that's pretty much what I wanted to do. My whole thing was just that I wanted to get a nice house. I wanted to make enough money to buy like a fat dick house, and then I wanted to fucking furnish it and with my fucking sick ass furniture empire that I was building. And I realized that I'm literally playing The Sims. Why don't I just go and play the fucking Sims? I wanted to I want to furnish my house and make it pretty, and I realized that I could just do that by fucking playing The Sims. And then so I kind of stopped playing because the people that I was playing with weren't really playing as often anymore. And yeah, I managed to sell a few horses, make some good ass money because I would breed them for the sprint. The sprint was the best thing that you wanted in that game. And then I eventually got a nice house. It was like a 3-story townhouse, and I was just like, okay, this is fine. I furnished it, and then I was like, all right, I have accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, and then I stopped playing.
No, I mean, I can see your point entirely. Like, I mean, I was one of the people that played BDO with you, and for me, typically, if I don't usually care about raids. I used to when I was younger, but I guess I just resented the idea of having to like dedicate like between 1 and I guess 5 or however many days or evenings a week to a video game. Like it's a fucking commitment and people are relying on you. It's like, but man, like, what if I just don't feel like playing the video game that night? Like, no, you have to fucking cancel with a fucking appointment. Like, man, so I never really cared about raiding. For me, it's usually like I enjoyed the leveling experience. Like, I enjoy seeing my character grow stronger and like getting better at the class or job that I'm playing, and just learning my rotation and stuff like that. But I usually don't play for much at like max level, no matter which MMO it is. And in BDO, I guess for me, it had like a lot of pros and cons. Like I didn't like PvP. I never liked PvP. I'll accept it, but BDO there was a lot of PvP. Whatever, right? So kind of like you, the classes were like a little bit of whatever, and we were hitting a saturation point where you would need to grind like 8 hours a day to get like half a level, like those kinds of Korean MMO grinds. And the horses were like, oh, if you want your horse to be incrementally better, you need to breed, like with a fucking spreadsheet for the next 3 weeks and all that kind of stuff. So it just kind of hit a saturation point. Like, okay, like I got the enjoyment out of it that I did. It was good shit, but now I'm kind of like, I'm over it in that sense. So I don't know. Like I feel MMOs for me, it's just usually like I'm interested in like a month or two while there's new exciting content. And then I just kind of like teeter off and I don't care until like the next expansion, more or less, or like huge patch or, what have you.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're more likely to play Shadowlands than me. I'm sorry, everybody out there that is a big, rock hard for fucking WoW. But I never got that. I think I played WoW for like a month. And it's because my sister Grimora, she comes into stream sometimes, but sister Grimora was playing WoW and she was pretty obsessed with it. And so I think I played for like a month, and I had like a Tauren warrior, and I played Horde, and I was just like, I did the thing, and then like the stupid quests where you're just like checking a bunch of shit so you can see if there's potentially gems in it, like the dailies or whatever. I was like, I don't fucking vibe with this. And then I stopped playing after my 3-month trial. Like, I was like, I'm good. I don't find this interesting. And then she went on to like keep playing, and she was really into WoW for a while. And then my best friend Sammy was really into WoW for a while. And then her fiance was super into WoW. Like, they have like WoW fucking costumes and shit. And I never really got into it. When Warcraft was like a big fucking thing, I didn't even have my own computer that could run Warcraft because I was, only a little baby. And so I shared a computer with like my family, and like the computer that we had was like not anything to write home about, basically, and it could not run that kind of shit. So I would watch like my cousins play WoW, like, for like Chinese New Year, or like at our Christmas, like our annual Christmas party and stuff like that. And then I would maybe watch Dave play StarCraft whenever I went over and hung out with him and my sister. That's my brother-in-law, by the way. So that's kind of like my experience with that. And so because of like where I was technology wise and where I was, being a petulant fucking child, I did not have the computer that could run those types of games. And the biggest thing that I would do on my family computer was go on my forums and RP.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely feel you. I mean, I was also very little when Warcraft came out. I was 10 years old when we got our first computer. It was immediately mine, but I did have the chance to play Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. I think I spent a lot of my gaming youth, between 10 years old and 12, 13, 14 maybe, playing a lot of custom maps in Warcraft 3, like tower defense and malls and stuff like that. Like that was peak gaming, my friends. That was, great. And I don't know, WoW was my first MMO, and it's, but I've never been super obsessed. I don't think. I think I put a lot of hours into it, absolutely, but it's never come to a point where it was the only thing I played or the only thing I cared about, or where I would choose WoW over responsibilities or stuff like that, those horror stories we've all heard and read over the years. But how do you feel about MMO adjacent games? Stuff like Destiny, that have loot aspects, but it's not 20, 30, 40 people raids, but you can play it solo if you want. You can have small raids. Yeah. Do you enjoy those, or is it also at a certain point you're like, man, I really don't care about these shinier shoes?
I played Vindictus for a while. I played Vindictus for a year, and that's pretty much MMO adjacent, where you get some loot, you grind, you get nicer outfits, you can play with friends. There is certain quests that are raid quests, and so you have to meet 6 people minimum or something like that. And so I played Vindictus for a while, and I really liked Vindictus, and I still have a very soft spot for it. Sometimes I think a couple years ago I went back and kind of peaked and made a new character and kind of stuff. It's kind of stuff like that. So as for MMO adjacent stuff, even then, I fell off. I lose interest over time. I don't know if it's because I'm just some sort of just fickle ass hoe or something. I don't fucking know, but I just kind of fall out, and then I stop playing, and that's exactly what happened.
I think it's maybe because one, you already have a little time in the day, but I know you've mentioned that if you love a game, you can easily just sit down and play it all day, every day, right? Do you feel maybe that's why MMOs don't really attract you, because they do time gate you, right? They're like, oh, you're done for today, come back tomorrow, right? Because they want your subscription. Do you think maybe that plays a role in your dislike for them?
Honestly, it probably does play a role. Because I don't if you tell me what to do, I'm going to do the exact opposite. That's just who I am as a person. I don't like being told what to fucking do.
Same.
Ever. So I think that's also part of it, you know, like, oh, well, you've done all your dailies, so this is all you can kind of fucking do now. Like, I don't really like that. And like when it came to like Vindictus for me at least, and for like BDO, it's like for the things that I did get time gated on, I felt like there was other things that I could do that I would, you know, still kind of want to do. But even then, if that's all I had to do for the day and I was done, I would just stop and then I would just move on to another thing. But like, I also think that a lot of it has to do with story. I definitely like to play narrative, intense, story-driven games. I like JRPGs. I like RPGs in general. So for me, it's like MMOs. I could never really get into the story because, I mean, TBH, I'm not reading all the fucking flavor text when I just need to go do the fucking check the fucking antelope ship for a fucking gen. Like that shit. Like I just don't read the flavor text. And so I think that's also part of the disconnect. I know there's a lot of like background information with WoW, with like the books and how you can like, you know, read those and stuff like that. But I don't know. And how like, you know, Warcraft probably had like a compelling story campaign that I couldn't play because my computer was a fucking piece back in the day. And I didn't get a nice computer until I was probably 16 and I moved into the downstairs room by myself. And even then, that's when I started playing Vindictus. And even then I stopped playing that after a year. So for me, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm like disconnecting from the story. I know that WoW, no tea, no shade, calm fucking down, people that are listening to this podcast right now that are fucking going fucking full a Shrek and you want to fucking wreck it because I'm like talking shit on the lore. I don't know the lore. All I know is that Tyrande, nice boobies, Sylvanas, step on me energy. That's all I know.
Accurate.
Illidan like kick flips and does shit. And even then I didn't know who Illidan was until I legitimately fucking played HOTS.
Damn.
Sorry.
All right. Damn. Well, I guess let us know in the comments below if like Shadowlands brought you in, if you haven't played WoW in years and you don't care anymore, if you've been playing since like day one and you're still a hardcore fanatic, just like let us know like where you stand on that.
Yeah.
And I guess while you're
let us know.
Yeah. And like while you're down there, you know, leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell, you know, like you're already in the area. Might as well, you know.
Also, say if you also like Tyrande's boobies because she's got some pretty nice boobies.
Accurate. I mean, everybody should. Facts.
Milan.
But yeah, so you mentioned, you know, that you like story-driven games. I've seen you play Baldur's Gate 3 a little bit. How is it, right? Like you've played some D&D before. Like does it compare to a D&D? Does it compare to the other Baldur's Gates? Give me the rundown so far and your opinion on the early release of Baldur's Gate 3. There we go.
Yeah.
Words.
Yeah, early access. So Baldur's Gate Baldur's Gate 3 is fucking amazing. I love it. Its difficulty curve is higher than Divinity's, definitely. If you don't know Divinity 2 and Divinity 1 and stuff like that was created by the same studio. Larian is what created Baldur's Gate 3. I will say, in comparison to the previous Baldur's Gate, you are kind of pinholed and only using a set list of characters. Baldur's Gate, the previous iterations, both 1 and 2, you definitely had way more characters to recruit for your party that were very interesting. Like if you're running an evil campaign, like or an evil character, then you definitely had to piece together your party to do evil shit. And you couldn't be running with the goody goodies, otherwise they'd get pissed and they try to kill you. So I believe, and I haven't run into that really in this particular campaign because everybody else, like no one's really like overtly evil IMO, except for like, I don't know, even then like Asterion like does things that aren't really evil. He just, you know, it's a vampire. He's hungry and that's fine. So I will say the previous iterations of Baldur's Gate, you had more characters, you had more, you know, recruitment was like more of a huge focal point. And this, it definitely feels more linear, and that's fine. Like I'm okay with that because, you know, I play Divinity and I like Divinity. It definitely runs on D&D typical rules. You know, like your how far your character can jump is based off your like strength stat, and like, you know, you have an action and then you have like a swift or a bonus action kind of thing, and that's very much like circa D&D rules. It's definitely closer to D&D like in comparison to Divinity runs on like an action point system, so it's like as long as you have the action points, and certain things cost more action points because they're like big dick energy ones or whatever. So that definitely it's a lot more faithful to traditional D&D rules. But I'm really enjoying it. I think it's great. I loved the previous iterations of Baldur's Gate. I replayed them in college. And I sat in my classes and played Baldur's Gate in the back and didn't pay attention because of who I am as a person. And so deadass, that's what I did. And I really liked replaying 1 and 2, where it's great. And now that I'm playing 3, like it feels good, Scoob. It feels good. Like it doesn't, you can play Baldur's Gate 3 without playing the previous iterations. They aren't related. So don't worry about that, Scoob. But it's definitely like an up level from going from the previous iterations of Baldur's Gate, but also those games came out really fucking like a million years ago.
Yeah, a long ass time ago.
Yes, indeed. But that's my take. I love it. I think it's going well. And I think because my character is kind of like roguey, it's like a ranger rogue type, she's going to end up probably, I wanted to date, okay, what goth girl doesn't want to fuck a vampire? Okay, like I want to fuck that vampire. Like I want to fuck that vampire real hard. But unfortunately, because of like I never really have him in my party because like my character does what he's supposed to do, quote unquote. So I never really have him in my party, and so I've been running around with Gale a lot, and it's at this point where like I don't think I'm going to be able to lock it in with Asterion, so I'm like low key settling for Gale. Like, I want to fuck the vampire, but I guess the human wizard would do.
You will do.
Yeah. That'll do, pig, basically.
Yeah. How far into the game are you? Because I've heard the cap's like level 6, I think. I don't know how accurate or true that is, but...
Then I'm getting close. I'm like almost 5, level 5. And again, this game's early access, so there is going to be more down the line and stuff. And I'm totally cool with, waiting and, starting another campaign with a different character. That way I can, maybe make a warrior, and that way I can maybe, fuck the vampire. So, like, I'm good with that and stuff. But... Again, it's early access, so sometimes there are things about it that just piss me the fuck off. Like last night, I was playing and I was streaming my playthrough of Baldur's Gate, and I was like fighting these phase spiders, and I went to throw an alchemist flask, which is 1d4 fucking flame damage on something, and I was trying to burn these spider webs so that the matriarch. The phase spider matriarch would fall and she'd be knocked prone. So not only would she take fall damage, but she'd be knocked prone, and I would, be able to fucking pump her full of fucking lead and shit, basically, with my crossbow while she was on the ground. And for some fucking reason, I went to throw the alchemist flask, and rather than yeeting it politely onto the fucking spider web, my character like threw it, and it like flew into outer space, and it hit like the ground below. And I was just like, excuse me? Excuse me? And then, like, I had a little void bauble, which is, like, I used that to kill a very high-level character that I shouldn't have been able to kill yet. I threw it on the ground, and it basically sucked her in a chasm, and she exploded and died. And so I killed her, even though that fight was supposed to be quote-unquote hard. I just literally just gave her the yeet miss, and she died. And so that fight was not quote-unquote hard because of, like, just piecing it together and stuff like that. The funny things that can happen in D&D when you think outside of the box. Yeah.
Or accidentally, I guess, quote unquote, abuse the mechanics when you don't intend to.
Yeah. I mean, like dead ass. Okay. So this is the one time I was playing in a D&D campaign with my sister Grimora and my father, and we were playing, and we were in like this dungeon, and we're kind of sleuthing around, and then we run into this vampire. And this vampire, I guess, was supposed to give us like some sort of cryptic thing and send us on the next way of our fucking quest or whatever. And Grimora was the DM in this. And my father was playing a paladin, like lawful good paladin, right? So this fucking I think a human lawful good paladin, and this fucking like vampire lord comes out, and he's just like, greetings, motherfucker, right? And so like my dad in character goes like, detect evil, and Grimora goes, the vampire is evil. And he's like, I cast daylight. And so the vampire fucking is obliterated instantly. Doesn't get to say anything other than like, hello. And then Gamora immediately goes, fuck, he was my next story piece. But that's exactly what a paladin would do. They'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
this motherfucker is evil. He must die. And he just was murked instantaneously.
Yeah, no, I as someone who has played a paladin, a lawful good human paladin to be exact, the DM. So, first of all, this campaign went tits up from the start, because to clarify why, we were like level 2 or 3, and I had a bag of holding because obviously, why shouldn't, like, a small bag of holding, but for like 1k gold, so like, yeah, good shit. And like, I think we like survived like a bandit ambush or something, and we had access to their cart, and we found seemingly endless bags that were filled with like fresh produce. Like, oh sweet, like that's a lot of food. Let me put it in my bag of holding so I can take it with me. Obviously, out of character, I knew that the bags of fresh produce were also a bag of holding. In character, I did not. When you put a bag of holding into a bag of holding, in D&D terms, you basically divide by 0. The universe kind of just bad stuff happens, right? And the DM, he rolled like a dice, like a D100, like to kind of see what would happen, like which chaos is going to ensue. And we got teleported to like a planar dimension, and then we had that whole set piece, and we came out in some weird ass continent later. And the whole idea there was a red dragon was like terrorizing the people, and like they had to like provide sacrifices both in gold and in lives and all that stuff. And the dragon literally had like a fear aura, and if you see it, you get terrorized. But I was like level 5 or 6 at this point, and I literally had a feat that made me completely immune to fear. So when the dragon showed up and everybody's like literally like shitting themselves, like, oh fuck, I'm like, let's go, bitch. Like, do you want to go? And short story, that character fucking died because you do not attempt to fight like a level 18 dragon when you're like level 5 or 6. But I really love playing that character. She has like a special place in my heart because that was like the first character that I decided to like take a role play serious. And I went like the extra mile and did like a lot of small things, unnecessary things. Like I quote unquote wasted money on, on things that don't affect mechanics or gameplay at all, but they just enhance the role play side of things.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff will always happen that the DM doesn't account for, because players just do dumb shit sometimes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, or just players will do something that the DM didn't plan for, right? Like casting daylight.
Instantaneously killing it. And I think like another bad thing that we did during that campaign is like one of our fucking party members was a fucking edgelord. They will remain nameless, but they decided to like slit the throat of like a baby fairy dragon and like spread its blood on a fucking altar of sacrifice. And we were just like, are you okay, Scoob? Like, who hurt you? Kind of thing. And so like my character didn't fucking like that because they were like a very austere kind of person. They didn't really tolerate that kind of shit. They didn't like chaos. They were very like lawful, which is weird because I don't typically play lawful characters, but that character I played was particularly lawful. And so I started antagonizing the other character. And then our our DM at the time was just like, this, like, you guys are gonna like fight. And I was like, I'm fully prepared to, because that is what my character would do. And then the other person was just like, oh man, like, I don't really want to fight. I'm like, then you shouldn't have fucking done it. I fucking go to trip them because I had like, I think I was a war priest with a spear or like a halberd. And so I was just like, I fucking go to trip them. Like, let's fucking go. We're going to fight. Like, I'm going to fucking kill you in the middle of this fucking thing. Like, we're not cool anymore. We're not cool. Like, you did some evil shit and my character would not abide by that. But apparently that like upset the other person, and because they were like, oh, well, you're not playing right. And it's like, this is what my character would do. I am role playing. You have taken too much from me and my family, and now you're going to taste my blade. Like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. And like, it's just that kind of thinking just like kind of pisses me off when like you just think like, oh, well, because of the game and and party mechanics, I could just do whatever I want because the people will be okay with it. It's like, no, my character would not stand for this, and we would fight. We would fight, and I would try to kill you. Like, we're not friends. If you even think back to how this was set up, it's like, campaign starts with like, you meet at a tavern. It's like, you're not my fucking friend.
Yeah, you meet at a tavern, or you're all summoned by the mayor for a quest, or whatever other happenstance we met a week ago.
It's like, in the game, you're not my fucking friend. We are questing out of convenience, and you have done something that would fucking upset the very fiber of my character's being. So yes, I'm going to try to fucking kill you, because we're not friends. And like, the other person did not like that I did that, and they're like, you're metagaming, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm staying true to.
That's the opposite of metagaming. Metagaming would have been, oh well, they're player characters, so I should let it go, kind of situation.
Exactly, and I'm like, no, my character is going to try to fucking kill you, and that's what happened. I tried to fucking kill him, and the paladin in our party, our lawful good human paladin, tried to break up the fight. And yeah, that campaign basically ended there because we tried to kill each other, and that was
that's fair.
That was it. And then there was there was an upset discussion at the actual DM table, and I still retain that my choice was the correct one because I was in proper roleplay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, for me, it's roleplay. Like, trumps pretty much all, right?
Yes.
There's obviously some leeway. Like, obviously, if you meet at the bar, you're not gonna be like, "Fuck you guys, I'm not questing with you." You know, like, you're gonna let a little bit slide. But like fucking murdering a baby fey dragon at an altar. That's hardcore, right? Like that's not just punching a dude like in the face because he bumped into you. And that's no.
And the thing is like, like, detect evil on the altar. The altar is evil. It's like, okay, this person is now doing fucking evil shit. They've slaughtered an innocent animal, a baby innocent animal, and poured it all over an evil altar. And I was just like, okay, this person is evil. I can't trust them anymore. Now we need to murder them in the middle of this fucking dungeon. And so, that didn't go well. But again, that campaign was cursed because of the people that were in it. But I had another campaign that I absolutely fucking loved that ended up ending right when it was about to get like fucking juicy. So dead ass, we had a fucking campaign where I made a half elk half
I mean, you could have.
Hell yeah, brother. So half elf bard, and he was basically like like he did like the cheeky flirty bard stuff, but that's just because it was all a facade. It was all a lie that he created to hide his true identity because he was an escaped slave. And he was trying to find his sister, who they were separated in slaving because, you keep the men because the men can, pull shit and work hard and all that other shit. But with the women would basically be sent off to go breed. And so they were separated because she was like very like beautiful and had certain characteristics of like that were considered desirable in that society, she was sent off to be a housemaid for a very rich family. And so my character escaped, and he had a true name which he never revealed to anybody. And so he had a fake name that he went by, and his fake name was Wickham. And whenever everybody would ask him like, oh, well, your what's your house name or whatever, he would always play it off and be like the Great. So he was just Wickham the Great, coolest fucking bard in the earth. But everything that he did was basically a deception. And so I had to constantly roll deception checks because his whole fucking personality was just a lie, because he was just on this fucking never ending quest to find his sister. And so, he played up, the fucking spoony bard bit, but it was all just a fucking act because he was trying to fucking find his sister that, he really wanted to reunite with. And I ended up only laying the pipe once. And it's because a halfling barmaid thought he was kind of hot and offered basically the tavern keeper was just like, hey, I'll offer your party a discount on all the rooms tonight if you stay in mine. And then I was like, oh man, yeah, okay. And so
that's what you call the fucking tree-legged discount.
Yeah, exactly. So he only laid the pipe once. And like I said, his whole spoony bard demeanor was just a fucking lie. And that he actually was not really a bard. Yes, he could play an instrument, and yes, he could sing, but for the most part, and he had, spells like a typical bard class would have, but it was all just basically a lie. So I really was emotionally attached to that character. And when that campaign ended, I was totally just ass devastated because I just finally got like a fucking clue on where my sister was located. And so I was just like, hell yeah, my story arc's coming. And then we stopped meeting. And so I was pretty ass devastated about that. Super sad. Thinking about it to this very day, honestly, kind of want to go and recycle his character and use him in another campaign because I was so emotionally attached to him. Do you have that? Like where like you made a character, or do you make like a new character for every single campaign? Or do you have like a character in which you were like so emotionally attached to where you're just like, man, I kind of want to bring them back if we get another fucking game going?
So for me, I love making characters. Just love it. Like I love having a concept in my head and then like seeing if I can make it happen. So far, yes, except one thing I can't make. There's one concept I could never do. But like I just love thinking like one of the last characters I made, for example, was fucking Gilgamesh from Fate. I was like, I want some I want to be able to summon weapons out of a quote unquote vault and to just chuck them at enemies, and it's possible. But you have to be like level 19. So like, it's not really a feasible thing to do. Right. Yeah. But the concept at least is there. Right. Same thing so I usually have a lot of characters. For every campaign, I'll probably make like a main one. And if we start at super low level, I'll have like a backup character just in case, cause I don't want to like die half an hour in like, well, we're done for the week.
Yep. Got killed by a bunch of rats and a cat.
Yeah. So, but yeah, every campaign I do does have the very own character that I make because typically I've never like used the books. We've always just done homebrew campaigns.
Yeah, same.
And so typically I'll always try and make a character that fits in the world and in the lore and that makes sense.
Yeah, you have to. But I mean,
you don't have to.
In my opinion, you fucking have to.
I agree.
So, and honestly, like, I'm okay if you want to make like a brand new, like, race that goes with your particular campaign. Like, I'm cool with that. When stuff is like homebrewed, like, I honestly think it's more like authentic. I think it's great when people go and they go all out with their character creation. I love like a fucking juicy backstory. If you're one of those people that don't fucking write a backstory, fuck you, suck my cock. So I love that shit. I like fucking live for that shit. And like I said, like my whole obsession is like strong narrative good fucking content story. And so like when that happens like in a D&D campaign, like I fucking love it. That's typically why I don't really enjoy one shots, because I don't get that.
There's enough
like
time.
There isn't enough time, and you don't get that like this is some good food kind of thing. And yeah, like I 100% feel that. But I have some characters that I created for campaigns that never got off the ground, and I kind of like am. Yeah, right. And I'm kind of like bummed because like I do want to use them in the future. And so I have like this one character that I made, and she is so cute. Also, I roleplay both. Like I will make a man, and I will make like a fucking 15-year-old girl. I will make a 34-year-old man or a 15-year-old girl. Like it's whatever I fucking feel like.
Yep, I agree. I'm the exact same way, because it's like, I have a concept in mind, right? And some races, some genders, some whatever like might fit that whole look I'm going for better. Like the latest character I made that we never got to play was God, I forgot the race. They're native to like the shadow plane. They're like super pale.
Fetchling.
Possibly. But you know, but she was like a small like 12-year-old. And, you know, and the whole spiel is that, you know, that she had to survive out in the hardships. And like, I'll gladly take that penalty to stats for being a small character, because it fits my roleplay aesthetic better. Yeah.
Yep. Like I'm all about, you know, metagaming, you know, when it comes to like certain thing, not metagaming, but min-maxing, excuse me. I'm all about min-maxing when it comes to fucking Fire Emblem, when you get those set units. But when it comes to D&D, it's like, I want to feel the fantasy. I want to fucking feel the fantasy. Like I will take a minus on my intelligence modifier if it means that I can play a fucking idiot and have fun with it. Like I'm good with it. I'm 100% good with it. I'll take the negatives because it fits the story and it'll be funny kind of thing. And like, you know, somebody else will make up for it. It's not that big of a deal. So
like
I agree.
I'm like half a min-maxer, like in the sense of, if I was a true min-maxer, I would always just play a cleric or a wizard and just be OP in the background, just
Eldritch Blast.
Then I started blasted. But I'll have like a concept, right? And then I'll min-max to be the best I can be at that concept. Like let's say I want to make a character that's all about attacks of opportunity. I'll do everything in my power to be the number one at that one thing, but I don't care about being good in other aspects, right? I'll gladly sacrifice some stuff to, you know, to realize the dream, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm the exact same way. It's like the concept is key. Like when my war priest, the one that fucking got mad at the person that killed the baby Fey dragon, her whole shtick was that she was a tripper. She would trip people, then she'd give them the fucking chin music. She'd trip people, then give them the chin music. And that's her whole ass build, which is built around that. So for me, I 100% agree with you. Concept is key. Concept, role playing, and what you're fucking creating is like fucking key. Like I don't like, it's fine if you want to min-max, you want to be the best barbarian in the fucking land. I don't fucking care about that. But as long as your character actually has like a purpose, they are like, they have a reason for being, they're motivated to do something, and you're not just like unga bunga, I kill because barbarian.
Basically, ideally be more than just a walking stat sheet outside of combat, you know?
Exactly. And that was my whole thing. It's like I didn't fucking like that. And like with my character, it's like my character Wickham, he had a curly mustache, and he would like, when we were talking, we were like role playing and stuff like that, and like, you know, he would like curl his mustache, and I would say it. I'd be like, you know, like I curled my mustache, kind of thing. And it's just like, it's just important to just like weave in those elements so that when you're playing, you can visualize it, like you see it. It's like it's a storybook, like it's coming off the page, and like yes, you get to like role play and you do like that kind of shit or whatever. And it's just like I had the cutest little character, and she was just like a little cleric, but she was like an idiot. She was just a dumb, like childlike delight kind of idiot. She trusted like everybody too easily, and I wanted to play her so badly, but that campaign never got off the ground. So I'm keeping her in the back seat. I want to fucking use her sometime in the future, even if it's just like in a campaign and she just has like a guest appearance. Like she just comes by and she's like, "Hi, I see that you're struggling. Let me help you." Like she's just like that cute, childlike innocence. Like I really want to fucking play her. Like, she's just,
Yeah, no, I can completely agree. Like I have probably at least half a dozen characters that I can just pull out of thin air. I still need or want to use. Let me go back for a bit because I've actually have two relevant stories that popped up when you were talking about
wind it back,
murder, the murder of like the party member because they did some fucked up shit. It reminded me of something that I guess my memory blocked out because it was a really cool moment and then it turned sour super quickly and just left a bad aftertaste. Mm-hmm. I was playing a monk, a very religious monk. I forget which deity. Is it deity or deity?
Either or. It's tomato.
Okay. Nice. Like he was worshiping, but we came across a body, and one of the dogmas of that religion was they had to be buried in a specific way. Like I think it was a case of you had to put a coin on their forehead and do something. I forget what it was. And then we had, I think, I'm not sure if it was a paladin or a cleric that had the opposing view. Like, let's say for the sake of argument, my religion said I had to burn the body, and their religion said you have to bury the body. And we got into a roleplay disagreement.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was really intense. Like we were actually arguing and just, like, no, it should be like this because like that. Like, no, my God says this. And then a third party member literally walks up to me and he did fucking persuade person, like the spell, and just changed my mind. And because I filled the role. And that left such a sour aftertaste because he just ruined the entire role play that I was having. It's like, really, dude? Like, also, you couldn't have in character done, like, agreed with one of us?
Yeah, or just,
I don't know.
Why pick that hill to die on? Like, why pick that hill to expand, like, a fucking spell on? I would not. I would just be like, torch the body, let's go.
Yeah, like do something in character. I guess they were, or he was probably just getting bored because we were at it for like 10, 15 minutes at this point, just role playing about it.
At the same time,
like, come on,
though,
dude.
Don't.
Yeah, it left a very sour taste. Like really, like you just had to fucking shit on my sandwich like that,
Yeah, like straight up. You had a delicious sandwich that you were building, and then he just came and just like put a thumb up his ass, swirled it around, and swiped it across the top bread.
You're just like, I was like, why?
Why? Who hurt you?
Yeah, and there was nothing I could do because I failed to save. And I mean, from that point on, I talked to the DM afterwards, and we kind of agreed, like, hey, you can't really do that to players like that because that's just fucked up. When it's for something, but when it's for something so inconsequential, like, come on, man, you kind of fucking shit all over his parade. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, agreed.
And then there was another campaign, which was kind of like, fucking from One Punch Man, Saitama, the like okay face.
Yeah.
So there was this small segment, like we were like level 2 or 3, so this was actually a big deal. I was playing a bard as well, actually, in this campaign.
Hell yeah, bards! I love bards. Bards are like my favorite class. TBH. Sorry.
And and we got like locked into this like room / mini tower, me and one other party member, with like a golem. And I remember I casted grease and that bought us some time. And there was like a ladder and I escaped up the ladder, and my party member, like, she didn't make it. Like she got knocked the fuck down by that golem. But obviously I'm like, man, I can't just fucking leave her, right? So I do a heroic sequence. Like I slide down the ladder, I run towards the golem. I spot the grease on the ground, and I use that for like leverage to like slide under the golem, pick up the party member, and escape. And then then I do the whole process of like healing and all of that. And because I was a bard, I was obviously like a little bit flirty when they woke up in my arms, right?
Oh yeah, dude, that's gonna be the panty dropper that give.
I quote, this is the response I got back after that like 5 or 10 minute like of role play and dialogue I gave. It was literally
hot sequence. It was hot. Like it was like that would have been the panty dropper TM.
Yeah, and the line I got back, I forget the character's name, so let's just call her Jane. Jane gives her thanks and gets up. then we just moved on. I was so upset. Like, really? That's roleplay I get back for that whole sequence and for saving your life? I get a third person one-liner? Like, are you joking?
I would be so pissed.
Yeah. So I mean,
Thanks, TM.
Basically, like afterwards, I was just like, okay, like cool. I guess I'll just go fuck myself. I mean, honestly, I think what it was is when I'm role playing, I role play. I don't care who you are behind the character.
Nope.
I think the person that I was playing with, that like he probably had an issue because he was playing a female character and I was playing a male character. So I flirted because she was hot. I just saved her life. Like, I'm in. Yeah. Like this is the way into the pussy.
Yeah.
And
the bone zone.
And he probably felt awkward. Yeah, and he probably just felt awkward about it, and he just brushed it off. Like, dude.
No, dude.
Then,
what happens between characters stays between characters.
Yeah. It's like, come on, like we're role playing. Like I'm not gonna fucking come over to your house and have sex with you, in real life. Like,
I know.
Just,
dude. No, I totally get that. I totally get that because sometimes I feel like because I'll play with campaigns like with my dad, and sometimes certain things that I do in a campaign will make him uncomfortable. Like so the DM, right? Okay, we're back on Wickham, right? Wickham the Great, the best motherfucker in the land. So Wickham, the halfling tavern owner is just like, come lay the pipe, and I'll give you a discount on the room. And I was like, okay, like I agreed to it, and like you could tell that like my dad was getting uncomfortable, and I was just like. You want a discount or not? Kind of thing, right? But like, obviously like side, but like my character had made up his mind. He was going to do it for the good of the party. It's like, whatever, man. If like I keep my companions, we get a discounted rate, we have more gold, and that way we can fucking like get to find my sister even faster. Like, I'm going to do it. It's like for the greater good kind of thing. Because his sole motivation was trying to find a sister. So then, we go into a role play. And, shit's going down. Like, we fucking. And you could tell that my dad was getting uncomfortable. And we didn't go too like into details, It just kind of, like we're making out, we're heading over to the bed, and then it was going to fade to black. And then I had to make a roll to see how well I did. And I did well. She was well satiated, my guy. I laid that fucking pipe, bitch. Hell yeah, right? But my dad straight up was just like, he turned to me and he's just like, why are you doing this? And I was just like, I never fucking said I was a role model, dude. Like,
yeah. It's like... It's part of it, right? It's like, yeah, like I completely agree. Like, I don't know. Like,
sorry, it made you uncomfortable that people have sex. Clearly, you had sex 3 times because there's 3 daughters out of it. So
yeah, but I mean, I can understand, right, that some people can't like let that barrier go.
If you can't let that barrier go, honestly, you shouldn't be playing D&D. Hot take.
I disagree there because like. You can learn to overcome it, right? Or become more comfortable with the people you play with.
Over time, but if you're one of those people that aren't interested in like actually growing or like role playing seriously, then you shouldn't be playing the game. If you don't want to fucking role play, don't fucking play D&D. Sorry.
Play a different system or find a group that's like 90% dungeon stuff. Like our sessions were 50-50. Like some were like no combat, some were only combat. It really depended on the scenario and the context.
Yeah, and where you are. Yeah.
Yeah, like in a dungeon, obviously there's going to be more combat than role play. But if we're in town, like we would literally have like a session where the DM expects us to go shopping for 30 minutes, but it turns into a 6-hour ordeal because we talk to NPCs and do role plays and do side stuff that we find interesting. So,
and that's what makes it fun. The whole thing is like
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I don't know, if like I said, if you're one of those people that don't fucking like to role play, why are you playing a role playing game?
Yeah, like find a different system, or find at least a group that's more
That just
combat focused.
more combat focused or something. But like for me, it just really bothered me because like I've been in campaigns where like, and I want to fucking roleplay, dude. I did not spend fucking hours creating this character and honing their fucking personality for you to just fucking I say thanks and get up. Like I would be fucking pissed.
Dude, yeah. So it's like, yeah, it was rough sometimes, but at the same time, my DM did often reward me because I went a little bit extra, like to go back to the paladin.
Yes.
One thing, like one character trait that was very pivotal to her was she was perfect / pristine in everything, or she tried to be, which meant, you know, like cleaning her fucking armor every day, taking a bath, buying perfume, all that shit. And I remember at one point we were invited to like some royal noble dinner bullshit. And the DM like literally pointed out like that the nobles were only like gonna talk to me because everybody else hadn't like baited in 3 weeks and looked and smelled like fucking hobos.
Yeah.
And I was the only one that looked like a decent human being. And so I got a +2 to charisma checks for in the social setting.
Yeah.
Nice.
And like honestly, like I've honestly had a DM just like, okay, so scenario where the baby Fey dragon got its throat slit and poured all over a fucking altar, and we had that altercation both IRL and in game because they didn't like the way that my character acted out of character and tried.
I also have an IRL altercation after this.
Hell yeah. So that shit happens, and then the session, you know, comes to an end, and the DM is saying how many experience points that we get, right? And, you know, like if our character's going to be leveling up and blah, blah, blah. And so the DM gets to my character and I got extra experience points because they were like, you role played and you stayed true to your character and what they would do. So I'm going to give you extra experience points because it made sense for them to reward me that way. And
yeah.
The other person that I was getting into a fight with that wanted to just dismiss the fucking altercation because they slit the fucking throat of a baby dragon that just wanted to be like, oh, well, party mechanics. They did not get extra experience points. And so that sparked a fucking issue, like IRL, because they were mad that I was getting more because I stayed true to my fucking character and caused a scene.
Yeah.
But it made sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like... inevitably, like if you play over time, if you keep playing campaigns, you're eventually going to butt head at some point just due to the nature of characters involved. That's just how it is. And it's not always going to end pretty. Sometimes it might, you know, like be cool role play. Sometimes it'll end the campaign right then and there. Shit happens, you know?
Yeah,
so
I've seen a campaign where one character literally dismembered the other character and that person died because of an altercation.
I've been that person.
Yeah, no, they found out that the other character was evil in a party full of good people, and so they all killed him.
Yeah.
They did something evil. Everybody was like, what the fuck is your problem? And then they fucking killed him.
Yeah, it's like I enjoyed the dynamic of playing evil character in a good party.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because it forces you to be creative, right? You can't just fucking light an orphanage on fire, you know? Like you have to be creative in your evil ways and...
Also, just anybody that plays chaotic evil that are just like, I'm doing it for the nookie XD. It's like, you're fucking annoying.
Doing for the lulz XD.
You're fucking annoying. You're fucking annoying, you little fucking edgelord. Where you're just like, I'm gonna burn down the orphanage just to hear their screams. And it's just like, dude, just fucking stop playing D&D and go fucking listen to Slipknot, you little shit.
Yeah, basically. I agree.
Take.
So... to bring up my IRL altercation, right? We always played online because, you know, like we live scattered across the country, so we always played over Skype. And for years, we just used an honor system for dice rolls. Like DM would ask, like, "What'd you roll?" I rolled this, and so on and so forth. And at one point, I got accused of cheating. Just for fudging, like that I was making up my rolls.
Okay.
And their solution, I wasn't cheating, but their solution was, I have to show my rolls. And I said, okay, I'll do it as long as everybody else does it too. I think that's only fair. they're like, no, only you have to do it. Like, well, then I'm not fucking doing it. Like either we all do it or none of us do it. Like, that's how this works.
Agree.
Right. And then we didn't talk to each other for like a couple of years because they were fucking mad at me.
Wow. That's because they were cheating. Probably.
I don't know. I don't care. But it's like just out of principle, right? Like we either all show our roles or none of us do. You can't single me out because you think I'm cheating.
Agree.
Right? Like you can't do that. And we did eventually play again, and then we started playing on Roll20, I think. No, it's called Roll20. The website, and then so it was all public and it was all fine. But it's like, come on, man! Like that was just so messed up.
So fucking stupid, dude. Why single you out, dude? I'm baffled. I can't even fucking talk.
I mean, like, okay, but even if I was cheating, right? Like, why not just agree to everybody show their roles? Like,
who are we hurting?
I didn't ask. Yeah, like. It's just out of principle. Like, I don't want to be the only one who has to show his roles because apparently I'm a cheater, but we believe everybody else. Like, no, it's we all do it or none of us do it. Clearly it was my suggestion that we all do it. So I don't have a problem with it. Right. Like I didn't get the fucking defensive. Like, oh no, I don't want to show my rules. How dare you?
That usually means that they're cheating.
But it was so weird. Yeah, possibly. But it was super fucking weird. But yeah, that was the IRL altercation we had. It was just like mind blowing to me that everybody, like even the DM refused to like be like, okay, we all do it. Like even he was just like, no, only you have to. Like what?
Why? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. I would be livid. I would.
What's your stake in this, right?
I would lose my shit.
I mean, yeah, it was basically like, okay, well, if no one else is doing it, then I'm not doing it either. Then have fun with D&D. Like, that's basically how it went.
Absolutely.
But also, random hot tip for DMs. I'm typically against railroading, like pretty heavily. I just like to kind of like nudge the party slightly, and if they bite, they bite, and usually they'll bite. But if you really want to make a party go somewhere, while they're sleeping, steal their shit. It doesn't matter what you steal. You could steal like fucking boots worth 5 copper. It doesn't matter out of principle because the party, they all have an ego, right? Because only they matter in the world of D&D. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you steal. They will chase down the fucker until the ends of the earth. Because how dare they steal my 2 copper boots, even though I have like 50k gold on me. How dare they're going to have to pay. And just always, make the thief just slightly out of reach, and until the party arrives at the destination you want them to arrive at.
God gamer calculated.
Yeah, that'll work without fail, at least once.
Yeah,
depending on on how you can't do it in a row, but every so often, that's like a free ticket to get your party to go somewhere. Just steal their shit. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. And calculated God gamer. Think about that. If you're a DM and if I ever DM, I've never DM'd, TBH. I don't know. I think I'm like self-conscious and think that I won't be good at it or something. But I'm also like not as experienced as like say you or like Grimora and stuff when it comes to D&D. Like I don't have that many campaigns under my belt. I mean, I have a fair amount, but I wouldn't say that like I'm an expert at D&D, kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm like really hesitant to try DMing, but like in this dystopian future of 2020, it kind of makes me want to try just because I miss it. I miss D&D so much.
Same. Yeah, I mean, I've almost DM'd. Like I was at the cusp of DMing.
I remember that, and I played a little level.
You played like a little like a little test session, and basically, I don't have the files anymore because they were lost in my old hard drive. Like I think Paul might still have them, or like I think I sent them to him to like test read or something. So I don't know which draft he has. But basically, I made a world map. I made I still needed to add combat, But basically, once I would add random encounters, I would say I had about the first 40 hours or so of a campaign prepared, maybe a little bit more. Probably more, honestly, probably closer to like 60, 70 hours. And with a lot of redundancies, like, I started out like a lot of NPCs, like, including like barmaids and guards and side quests. And if the party doesn't do this, I can reuse this content here later. Or if they do that, that'll trigger this, and so on and so forth. And I had people willing to play. I had like a whole backstory for the world. I had region-specific lore already made, and that tied into some of the characters as well. It was really cool. And then one person just never made their character. Like, I literally poked him like 15 times, like, hey, when do you have time to sit down with me so we can create your character?
Oh, I hate that.
Blah, blah. And it was always like next week. And then at some point I just stopped asking, because like at some point you need to show your own initiative.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like you guys are the ones that came to me asking if I could DM. I didn't come to you asking to be players.
No, I agree.
And so that character never got made. Combat isn't done, but yeah. So I was like on the cusp of DMing. I was very close to run a proper campaign, and I definitely still know how I was going to end it. And I had this whole. I had one scene planned before anything, and it's kind of fucked up because the long and short. So basically, the long and short of it is, early on in the campaign, they would find this traveling bard troupe, and they're like, they would travel together a little bit, and then they would part ways, and then every so often I would have them come back, right? And then the players, they could like tell their stories, and then they would make songs about it, and so on and so forth.
It's cute. I love it.
But then towards the end, so like probably like 50 sessions in or something, I would have the bard troupe like ask them for their, basically the whole goal of the bard troupe was that they were working on their magnus opus, right? Their final, the best song they could, like their best creation they could ever make, and then they would retire. And 50 sessions in or so, they finally have it. Like they have their song, and obviously they want the party to be the first ones to hear it. And I had 3 songs lined up, one for each party member, right, as kind of a dedication and honor. And as the songs were, so I was legit like gonna play a song and just be silent for a couple of minutes as I describe the scene, just have the party actually take it in. And so that's, it's like more than just me saying, oh, they play a song, it's beautiful. Like, no, you listen to it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
But as the songs would progress, they would, like, the bard troupe would start crying because they're sad. And then once it's done, they would just kind of like apologize and draw their weapons. And then the 4th song kicks in and they roll for initiative. And I didn't figure out the exact reason why, but it would tie in because like the big bad evil guy is like threatening their family or something of that nature. And they're sad because they have to fight their friends. So it's like,
and then they kill. Yeah, you kill them.
I tug on a couple emotional pieces, right? Because one, they've been there for, if it's 50 sessions, that's like a year, right? Like over time. Yeah. They just like listen to some sad ass fucking music that I orchestrated and put on for them, and then they've grown to love these characters, and now they have to choose. They have to kill them. It's like, fuck yeah.
I like that.
Because I know if that were ever to happen, that is a story they will remember for 20 years.
Oh yeah.
Like that is a D&D story you'd never forget, and those are moments I would love to create. Just unforgettable D&D stories.
Yeah. Remember that time where you murdered your friends? I love it.
I mean, basically where you had to murder them, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that shit. That shit fucks me up. I love it.
Yeah, and it's also like, because afterwards they would even have more motivation to kill the bad dude, right? Because like, holy shit, like he or she or they, whatever, made us do this.
I love it.
Yeah. Fucking love D&D, dude.
I fucking love D&D too. Also, if you're listening right now and you fucking love D&D too, fucking comment below. Tell us about your favorite character. Tell us about one of your favorite funny, amazing, epic, or just even fucking anger-inducing moments in your campaigns that you've had. Just because...
Yeah, give us anecdotes and which version do you play and which version do you prefer playing, or like, you know, good shit.
Yep. 3.5 or 5 for me. 4th edition was shit.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, Pathfinder.
That's the way to go.
Pathfinder's 3.5, aka Pathfinder. And then 5th edition D&D is pretty good.
I haven't played 5th.
5th is good. 5th is streamlined. It's very nice.
It looks good for players who haven't played D&D before.
It's nice, but most of the time that I play D&D, I usually have 1 or 2 people that I've never played before in the party. I'm never playing with seasoned people, ever. Yeah,
like when I look at 5th edition, I just see a lot of things I can't do or make. Like compared to 3.5 or Pathfinder, the options seem they're very streamlined. It's very efficient, but it's also, at least to me, very limiting and constricting.
Yeah. It kind of stunts your creativity, but also that's because you are a seasoned player. So 5th,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like 5th edition, as of recording this, like I don't know how it'll be in a couple of years. It'll probably improve. As of right now, to me, is very bare bones. But it's definitely the edition I would recommend if you're looking to start out.
Yes.
Right? Like unless you're gonna play with a completely seasoned party and like a DM that'll walk you through it, you can start in Pathfinder or 3.5. Yes. But if you're all brand new or whatever, 5th edition is a great way to like get your little toesies wet and like dip into D&D and kind of see how it is.
Agree.
For sure. But Pathfinder, just because it has so many options and it's more balanced than 3.5, that'll always be my go-to system until like Pathfinder 2 gets more, Pathfinder 2nd edition like gets more robust.
Yeah. Because right now, I mean, to say the least, is it not just like 5th edition right now where it's not really fleshed out and more things can be added? And that's kind of like what happens over time. So
yeah, exactly right. So that's what I mean. Like, as of recording, it's just a little bit bare bones, and I'm sure it's good at what it does. Right? Like I'm sure playing a fighter or a barbarian or monk or rogue or whatever is very satisfying in 5th edition. But basically, the difference between like let's say Pathfinder and 5th edition, if there's 5 of us and we all play a barbarian in 5th edition, we're all kind of going to do the same shit.
Yep.
But we can have 5 completely different kinds of barbarians in Pathfinder.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. That's a really good way to describe it for newer people that are just starting to play. But yeah, I love it. I love D&D.
Definitely let us know because I think we've talked about D&D for like an hour almost, I want to say.
Yeah, we've talked about D&D.
45 minutes maybe?
Yeah, we've talked about D&D for basically the majority of this podcast. And so clearly both of us are very passionate about it. And honestly, we want to hear about it. We want to hear about your fucking anecdotes because like me, I love a good fucking story. So
yeah,
tell me.
I have so many D&D stories because I mean, I've played D&D weekly for pretty much, 6-7 years, like straight.
Hell yeah.
All kinds of different. I've done evil campaigns. I've done short ones, long ones, low level, high level, like completely homebrewed, like where we would level up after every session just by default, or be an overpowered campaign where we got like a feat at every level to pick. I've played all kinds of things. It's fucking great. I have so many stories, so many anecdotes, advice, tips. If you have any questions, for either of us, you can always just come into stream and talk about D&D. It's always a good ass time.
Yep. Hell yeah.
But yeah, I think we're done for today, aren't we? Unless you have like another juicy anecdote.
Honestly, we'll save it for another time. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming to the podcast. We appreciate you as always. Leave a comment. Let's talk about D&D. Just talk nerdy to me, baby. And then don't forget to subscribe, hit that fucking bell. Respect Anime Pussy.
Hit that like.
Yeah. Slam that like button. And yeah, just respect anime pussy, and then we'll see you next week. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Those of you that are celebrating, and if you're not, then either way, have a wonderful week. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly.